many years ago. I came back from school one day crying. I think I was in primary 6 or thereabout. My dad asked me, why am I crying? I said, my teacher told me in class that I asked too many questions, that I felt bad. He sat me down. I can't forget it. That changed my whole life till tomorrow. He said to me, he said, no question is foolish. Every question is intelligent. Because you are the one asking it, not the person that is answering it. Then he said to me, let nobody close your get to where you are going to. Primary 6, but it's stuck. So, get ready to ask any and every question. Our Father is here to answer. Let's receive this great man of God up here. Clap those hands as though they belong to you. Celebrate God's grace and the anointed of the Lord this morning. God bless you.
Please have your seats. I want to share with us today from this Elisha story in 2 Kings 2, 1 to 14. And, oh, that reminds me. How many minutes do I have? Pastor, how many minutes do I have? So that I work with time a lot, so it helps me to allot my resources. So I want to share with you on 5 keys to activate your divine placement in ministry. 5 keys to activate your divine placement in ministry. I guess that's many of us use a key this morning. How many? How many persons use a key this morning? Okay. Let's start with Apostle Frank. Just tell us one thing and not say one paragraph. Just tell us one thing you did with your key this morning. Just one. You opened and you locked at the same time. Okay. Who else? What else did you do with your key apart from you? Oh, you opened and locked your door. Good. Who else? You opened your door. You didn't lock it. So who else? What did you do with your key? Yes. You used it to start your car. Exactly. Who else? What did you do with your key? Who else? Anybody else? What did you do with your key this morning? So, basically, a key grants you access and also denies access. One thing can work in opposite directions. It can grant you access and it can deny someone else access at the same time. So, if we go back to 2 Kings 2, 1 to 14, which I'm using as our lead text, you will notice the use of these keys, 5 of these keys in helping for divine placement in ministry. What do I mean by placement? There is a place that God has assigned you to in life. Because my belief in life is that every believer is a minister. And there is a place he has assigned you to go and to be. Let me just share 2 brief stories for you. When I finished from the seminary in 1996, how many of you have not been born in 1996? Can I see your hand? You have not been born? Oh, good. So when I finished in the seminary in 1996, or before I finished, there was this issue of where should we go. I had started a church in Ogbomoso, Glory Baptist Church. We started that church with 12 persons. So that church had grown by 1996. We started 94, 28 May. So that church had grown, but I felt like I needed to go somewhere else. But my wife, who was my girlfriend then, told me that she wasn't going to anywhere if it was not staying in Ogbomoso at Glory Baptist Church. So I said, stay where? She said, stay at Glory Baptist Church in Ogbomoso. And I said, no, that is not in my plan at all. And she said, I have told you. So, I had so many offers in Saple, in Enugu, at Agbo. I think I had about 5 offers in 7. Then, I actually wanted to go to Nsukka because it was a university town. I like book a lot. So, but one day, while I was praying, I fell into a trance. I saw a hand plant a pumpkin seed in my open compound. And the pumpkin seed, one seed, brought out 2 branches. One to the right and to the left. So I made staples for the 2 of them. The one to the right, the branches were fat. The leaves, very lush green and plump. The one to the left, the leaves were not as lush as the one on the right, but good. Now the pod of the one to the left was not as big as the one to the right. So I was wondering, how can one stem bring out 2 different pods entirely? So a man walked up to me, right in that dream, and said to me, the branch to the right is Glory Baptist Church, Ogbomoso. The one to the left is Holy Ghost Baptist Church in Nsukka. The choice is yours. You make the choice. I said, huh? So I woke up. Now, who will not want to stay in a place that you have a better harvest? And Glory Baptist Church didn't look it. So I offered to stay at Glory Baptist Church. And I stayed back. I'm going somewhere. So 1st July, officially, I resumed officially as their pastor. I had been student pastor from the time we planted the church to that point. But September, that 96, I was already tired of staying in Ogbomoso. So while coming back from council meeting in my mother church, Antioch Baptist Church, right on that Ibadan-Ilorin Expressway, I was bitter, complaining to God. He said, which can you just put me for a dry place like this? Haba. I heard an audible voice right by the Baptist Medical Center. While I was on that road walking back home, I heard my name 3 times. I turned. To my greatest surprise, there was no human being on that road. If you have been to Ogbomoso, you know how busy that road can be. There was no human being. There was no car. It's unusual. It was then I knew that the man upstairs was calling me. So I answered and I said, my relationship with him is very casual. So I said, bros, now waiting. And he said, I asked you to remain here. He said, don't worry. In the 4th year, I will be back. And I will prosper you in your 4th year. I said, why you go wait 4 years? Why you go wait 4 years? So between now and 4 years, what is going to happen? But you know, he doesn't argue with you. He has spoken and he was gone. Exactly in the 4th year. 4th January 2000. The heavens became open. I mean, the heavens became open. The things I usually struggled for began to come easily. Ministry became easier. Life became easier. I began to see prosperity with my eyes. I began to touch it. I began to feel it. Doors began to open, to go here, to go there, to go here, to go there. Fast forward. I came to Benin in 2002 because in that 2000, when he came back, he said, begin to pack your bags because your time in Ogbomoso is almost over. When harvest, that was, and I said, bros, I know they like what they do. You want my go another place now, go start. So, 2002, we packed and we came to Benin. When I came to the church where I am now, I versed. And I said, why you know they carry me go where somebody don't walk? Make I chop. Why you be saying anywhere where you just carry me go? Not to suffer. So, we felt that by the 6th year we will live here. That was what we felt. Because that was what he told me. But in the 6th year, I was in Yenogwa Bayelsa ministering. Early that morning when he woke me up. And he said, can you plan a program for the next 12 years along the line of the 12 Jewish festivals? I said, that's okay. So as I planned the program, I said, wait, who want use them? Who want use them? Because by the 6th year I should leave. He said, plan the program. So I planned the program. Immediately I finished, he said, that's your plan for the next 12 years. So I was like, that's whose plan? He said, your plan. I'm going somewhere. I came back from that program not happy. So 2009, I was at Bowen University to minister to Baptist ministers from the entire Southwest who were on a retreat. I was sitting on this rostrum like this when I saw somebody walking through the last door of the university chapel into the chapel where we were sitting. The light upon him was blinding. As he walked down, he was walking straight to the altar. The more I looked at him, the more I couldn't look. So I closed my eyes, then brought down my eyes. I was still seeing him walking as I bent down. Walked straight to where the altar was. Came to where I was and stood. So I knelt down. He was holding a kettle in his hands. You know, like this outside kettle where they get a cover for mouth. So he removed it. Began to pour something on my head. As I touched it, I felt it. It was olive oil. He emptied the entire content of the kettle of olive oil on my head. When he finished, he said to me, "This is the anointing for where you are." And he walked away. As I finished ministering and came down, according to my tradition, I called my wife to tell her that I finished. I'll be on my way to my hotel. And she said, "There are 2 letters that came by courier, and they are on our table." I said, "I know where those letters came from." And she said, "Yes, you do?" I said, "Yes." I said, "Open it." One is from New Light Baptist Church, Magodo, Lagos. And one is from Victory Baptist Church, Asaba. I said, "Open it." Those 2 letters are letters of calls. And she said, "It's true." He said, "Me say we know they go anywhere with story where you just tell me so." That is why I'm still in Benin. So there is something called placement. There is a place he has assigned you and where he wants you to be. So how then can you activate your placement in that place? Number 1, followership. What did I call it? Followership. In verses 2, 4, and 6, Elisha followed Elijah. See, who you follow determines what follows you. And if you learn how to follow, you will definitely open the door to be favored. I come from a background, and I want you to understand it very well. My background is different from yours. Apostle Frank understands my background because he has been there. From the background where I come from, you are not taught to follow another minister. You are taught to be yourself, all by your own. But you see, if you don't have someone to follow, life actually will become tougher for you. Because why should you fail and stumble on a path that someone has walked on and succeeded? You will then be foolish not to follow a path that someone had already paved for you. So Elisha followed Elijah. So in following, follow someone who has a vision that aligns with your vision. Someone who has the ministry that aligns with your ministry. Someone who can show you the way and point the way and not be intimidated, so to say, by even who you become or what you become. I see young ministers today. Following is a problem for them because they want to be daddies themselves, GOs themselves. But if you don't follow, you can't learn. You will never learn. If you study Paul Adefarasin, for instance, you will notice that he has literally served anyone you can call in ministry today who is up there. He has served under them until the point of his manifestation came. But what do we find today? Instead of people following, they want to be the one followed. Now, if you did not follow, why do you want someone to follow you? It's a natural law. What gives you access to what God has deposited in you is the relationship you have with who you follow. My mentor, Reverend Sam Oye, Transformers Church, Abuja. That's my mentor. I love him a lot. There are things he does that's just wonderful. He's one man who doesn't make noise, but so gifted and graced by God. So, I spoke with my father in the Lord about him, and my father-in-law gave me permission. So, I flew to Orlando in the U.S. because I knew that was the place I will have access to him to meet him. It was William McDowell's worship conference in Orlando where he went to minister. So I flew there. Second day, after ministering, while he was going, I stood before him. And I said, "Sir, please, I want to see you." So he asked me to speak with his PA, Dr. Shegun. And I spoke with him. Next day, I was invited to see him. And he said, "Why do you want to see me?" I said, "I just want to follow you. I want you to be my mentor." He said, "Where do you come from?" I said, "From Nigeria." He said, "I actually flew to this conference because I want to have this access to you." So if I come to your church in Abuja, there will be too many PAs. You know, every PA has a PA. But I said abroad, I know access will be easier. He looked at me and said, "You have it." And the truth is, when I am stuck in certain areas, all I need to do is call him or send him a text message or a WhatsApp message. He will definitely reply. He said something to me that changed my life. He said, "Chika, the pulpit is not a reward for friendship." I said, "Daddy, say that again." He said, "The pulpit is not a reward for friendship." He said, "If you have a friend whose capacity cannot grace your pulpit, leave him at the point of friendship. But bring someone to your pulpit who has the capacity to grace your pulpit." He said, because destinies are changed on the pulpit, and destinies are not changed with friendship. Really? Wow. That changed everything. So, you don't have to be my friend for me to invite you to speak in our church. Once I know under God that God has something in you, I will definitely invite you. Because the pulpit is not a reward for what? For friendship. So, if you know that I am not good enough, please don't invite me. And I see ministers who quarrel. I've invited you for 2 years now. You have not even invited me once to your church. Not be turn by turn. I hope I'm communicating. So, follow what God gives you access to and graces in a man that is endowed with it. Follow the man. Relationship is the currency in the market of greater possibilities. Once you have a relationship, follow. So in one of his conferences, I was shocked when he called me and said, "Come and hold a preaching masterclass for 2 days during our conference." Shocked. And I went, served my mentor with my gifts in the conference. And I was quite pleased. If you don't follow, it will take you longer to come to the place of fulfillment. Am I communicating? Let me repeat. If you don't follow, it will take you longer to come to the point of fulfillment. A second thing you should do to activate your destiny placement: focus. What did I call it? Focus. In verses 3, 5, and 7, the sons of the prophets in Bethel, Jericho, and at the other side of the river, we are like spectators. But Elisha was focused on following Elijah. Listen, if you are to succeed in life and in ministry, follow what God has given to you and focus on it. Don't prophesy when you are not a prophet. Don't say now, it's prophets that they know they speak. Say, you want to speak like a prophet? No. Stay with your calling. Stay with your gifts and your giftedness. In case you are not aware, the churches in the world that have the highest following are not miracle working churches. They are Bible teaching churches. You can go and make the research. You'll understand what I'm talking about. You would have thought that those churches where the lame walk, the blind see, this and this happen, and they should have the highest number of people. Is that not so? But it doesn't happen that way. Focus. Stay with your calling. I met a man when I went to minister in Cheadle, Greater Manchester in the UK. He's one of the pastors of the church in Leeds, because he came from Leeds. And David Kitchen is his name. When I asked him what his role was in his church as a pastor, he said he's in charge of physical development. Do you know what that means? He's in charge of taking care of the physical facilities of the church. Yet, he is a pastor. That is his calling. If his church has a crusade, he is the one that plans the structure of the stage and everything. He makes sure how it's fixed and everything. Yet, he is still what? A pastor. Focus. Once your focus becomes broken, you will be diverted into other things entirely. So let me say to someone, focus on your focus. Tap someone around you, say, focus on your focus. Help me tap someone again and say, focus on your focus. So if I may ask you, what is your focus? What has God called you to be or to do? Sometimes when I'm out of church, I ask my wife to minister on my behalf. She's also a pastor, an ordained minister of the Nigerian Baptist Convention too. So, one of those trips when I returned, she said to me, she said, Abeg, anytime when you they come up for church again, not they give me preach. So I said, why? He said, your church members, you don't spoil them with preaching. So then go they think say I go preach like you. I said, and if you they preach, then inside I and then they look you. So we laughed about it. So I looked her straight into the eyes and I said, sweetheart, you can never be chica, no matter how much you try. I said, don't even try it, otherwise you go wound. You can never, ever be chica. And don't even try to attempt the things I do. No. Stay with your gifts. And I said, there are two areas this church knows you are good. You are very good in intercession ministry. and you are very good in family ministries. I said, so each time you have the opportunity to speak, decide whether you are going family way or prayer way. After all, so I made a joke. I said, after all, your church members, na prayer machine that they call you. I said, so that day, make them pray, make saliva finish for their mouth. As after all, then they tell me, say, anytime they put you for prayer, they no say they need to prepare. I said, fine. So I said, don't attempt to teach like me. I said, because what I see in the Bible, you won't see it. And I said, I don't struggle to see it. It comes very naturally. I can just be sitting down and it comes naturally. One. And I say, why? What? Why didn't I say this before? How? And I go back there and I say it. The illumination comes fresh because that is who I am. I'm a teacher. That's who I am. And so illumination and insight comes easily. So I said, but you are a family minister. I can't teach family the way you do. I can't even teach prayer the way you do. Help me say to your neighbor, focus on your focus. Help me say to another neighbor, focus on your focus. Help me touch another neighbor, say, focus on your focus. The reason young ministers keep struggling today is because your ministry has no identity. Because your gift should give an identity to your ministry. Your focus should give an identity to your ministry. And this is what I'm talking about. When you hear Bishop David Oyedepo, what comes to your mind? Faith. When you hear F. Kumuyi, what comes to your mind? Holiness. When you hear D. Olukoya, what comes to your mind? That's the point. That's the point. Your focus is what gives identity to what? To your ministry. But ministers today keep moving from one thing onto another. Jack of all trades, master of none. You know, it's prophets they respect these days. It's prophets they give more seeds to. So I come to church and I look at Frank. I say, Frank, it's like I see you moving. You say, yes, I'm going for an interview. That's what I'm talking about. No. So I brought my son, Stephen Ikoga, to church to come and speak during our Super Sunday. And Stephen Mansell's pulpit. And because he's a prophet by calling. So I've told him to stop answering reverend and put prophet there. Though they don't find that name in my denomination. But I've asked him to put it there. And Stephen Mansell, and Stephen says, who is? Mentions the name. He doesn't know them from Adam. Calls them out and tells the man and says, you they joke with your wife. If you let this woman leave you, you go suffer. Now, I and that family alone know that they are having serious marriage crisis. No one else knows. Now I might pinch myself. Right there. Matter solved. By force, by fire. He moves from there. I mean, you know, when you say forensic prophecies. Because that is who he is. Now, should I be afraid that my son prophet came to church and did what I can't do and will never be able to do? Which one concerns me with prophecy? What concerns me is what is in the Bible. Where am I driving to? Focus. My senior colleagues in ministry, Dr. Akbovovo, while he was in Lagos, while we were talking one day, I usually, every year, go to his church to minister. So, Osa says to me, Seshika, anytime when I just invite you, you go just scatter church for me. Bata. He said, and my people, they like and well. He said, but God has given me the grace to gather it back after you don't scatter, come out. Where am I going to? He understands his gifts and his calling and is not intimidated by what you bring. Focus. So, I don't call myself pastor because I am not. That may be a title because of the position that I occupy. But that's not my spiritual office. I am a teacher. And that's who I am. So focus on what God has given to you. Because your focus is what will launch you out. Wow. There's a man I respect so much. Bojo Yemade. Kai. Each time we meet, I and Frank, we always gossip Bojo. Oh my God. He stays with his scripture. He stays there. He not get time. And then, when he organizes programs, he brings people, different people, who will plug into those other areas. That's what it is. Why will you not be safe? So, ministers know that what you have is what drags the members who need what you have. Because God knows that what you have is what they need, he will drag them to you. Then, why should you feel insecure? So, focus. Number 3, fortitude. Fortitude. What do I mean by fortitude? It's the willingness to endure. It's the ability to follow through. That's what I mean by fortitude. Elisha stayed with Elijah and refused. I mean refused. They moved from Gilgal to Bethel, to Jericho, then to Jordan. A distance of 35 miles. They walked on foot. He stayed with him. See, young ones. Ministry, actual ministry, physical ministry is different from the revelation you had. So, the revelation was a picture, an attraction. And then, some of us are saying, God, did you deceive me? This was not what I saw. It was what you saw. I went for a program in Lagos, and you know, all of us who were called to minister in the program, while we were in the room, this matter came out, and everybody started sharing their experience. This one said, even you too. So, Pastor Kiola asked, say, look, did God deceive us? He said, because this was not what I saw. See my revelation, my own. Me, Chika. Now, helicopter that they use carry me from one platform to another. I never enter one till today. If you see crowd, where go they wait for me when I go land like this with helicopter? Kai, man of God. And some of you are like, God, did you deceive me? No, he didn't deceive you. You have to wait it through. There is a period of incubation. And you must be patient for that gestation period. Else, you will come out as an abnormal person and you will raise abnormal people. How long have I been in ministry now? Well, officially, let's put it at 32 years. 32 years. Please remove 32 from your age. And let me know how many is remaining. You must be patient. There were days when we started ministry that we had nothing to eat at home. My wife and I, nothing to eat. You know, sometimes I will go to the bank hoping that there will be something there. It's not these days that technology has saved you a lot. No, go to the bank thinking that there's something there. And I would have gone to the bank with my last 10 naira, because 10 naira was the transport, and get to the bank and my check bounces. I have lost the 10 naira transport. I have to trek back home. Once my wife sees me, it's the way I open the gate that will make her know whether I came with money or not. Once she sees that, she'll just come hug me, just tap me on the back, and just say, don't worry now. It go there all right. Then I will ask, when? She'll say, don't worry, it will be okay. I told them a story in church, and it's not new. I couldn't change my wife's bras. So, to use the colloquial language, when the rope cut, now me they use needle and thread, they swam by myself. Yeah, so that you make it tight more. If you don't, they slack. So I go say, how you be now? He go say, he get us here, be. I say, okay, oh yeah, wait, make I hold on. If I hold on like it tight, he say yes. I say, okay, just help me hold on. She will hold it. So I will bring the needle and thread, pass it through. Then I say, it tight? He say yes. If I didn't tell you, will you know? He said, Johnny, fortitude. You need to be patient. I told you I started a church with 12 members. I'm even better than many. Their own not reach 12 when they start. It was a journey to build that church for 8 years in Ogbomoso before I left. And then came to Benin. I met a church that had almost packed up. We needed to start all over again to build it. And I've been in that church now for 22 years. Patience. Patience. I see young ministers now say, hey, we don't have PA. We don't have AC. We don't have this. We don't. It's not the PA and the AC. No. It is your focus that will bring the people and keep them. Because it's not the AC they came for. It is what is in you. What is in you? Be patient. Patience is a currency that you will need in this ministry. And I call it fortitude. Stick to what he told you and stay there. When did I have a car? Then when we were still in Ogbomoso, and God said to me one day, he said, Chika, you have been praying for a car. And your church members have been praying for you for a car. And I said, yes now. I don't tire to the worker. And he said, I won't give you one now. So I said, why? He said, because your salary will not even fuel it. So that you will not be going on unnecessary visitation. So I won't give you a car. Only pastors will understand what unnecessary visitation means. Because you know that when you go, they're not going to let prophets go empty-handed now. And so God waited. These two. I go so come out now for that chair. So God waited till I could afford petrol before he sent the car. Because I see these days young ministers. How old are you? You've gone to buy a big car. You've gone to buy a big car. And you are cruising around in a big car. You've forgotten that the eye with which people see you is the eye with which they assess you. And once you are placed at a certain level, you must not drop from there. Else it becomes relegation from Premier League to Championship. Patience. Patience. I have a friend in this town. I won't mention the name. We started since 2002 when he came to Benin to start his ministry. He'll come to my house like, he said, these people, say, they gave me a car. He said, look, I don't sell them. I don't tell them, make them put them inside church building. I don't sell the car. Saturday like this, I like them. Today, if he wants to buy a private jet, he can. Patience. Patience. So young ministers, I don't know where you people are running to. This is a job, permit my use of language, you are going to do for as long as. See, make I tell you parable. If you use hurry, chop hot yam, blisters go there for your tongue. Be clear. Be patient. Number four, fatherliness. Fatherliness. In verse 12, Elisha called Elijah my father. My father. So if I may ask you, who is your father? I don't mean physical father. I mean spiritual father. You need a covering over your head. I heard this story Pauline and Cheng went to Bishop David Oyedepo and said, I want you to be my father. And Daddy asked him, who is your father? And he called the name of the person and asked him, why then do you want to change? He told him, right there in his presence, Bishop put a phone call through to the one, in quote, who was supposedly the father over Paul, and said, do you know such and such young man? Do you know such and such young man? The voice at the other side said to Bishop, yeah, you know this young man of nowadays who this. And Bishop put off the phone call, placed his hand on Paul's head, and said, from today, every other hand that was on your head before now, I remove it. And I place my hand on your head. That from today, whatever follows me, follows you. And you will do greater than what I do, Father. There's nothing like having a father figure. Someone that you can have access to. I mean access. It's too important. I can call my father. I mean, I can go to his house in Lagos and say that, I beg, I feel can't stay for 2 days. He said, no. Ngozi permit you. I said, call her and you ask them. Okay. Access. My children know that is my father. They are aware. My ministry children know that is my father. I have access. But above all, why do I need a father? He's a cover over me. The reason is this. Our people say, waiting elder sit down see, even if small people can climb palm tree, in Ogosian. Need a father. Elisha said, my father, my father. That was a relationship. Wow. So, why was he calling Elisha my father? Elijah my father? Because God moved him into a relationship where he will serve Elijah. I've noticed today that younger ministers don't want to serve. They want to be served. Greatness actually comes from serving. Have you noticed something? When Daddy G.O. is going for his fishing program in December, his son David Oyedepo will follow him to go and serve. When David Oyedepo has a program, his sons, David Ibiome, Paul Enenche, Sam Adeyemi, they will all come to serve. Relationship. My father. Listen. When you have a father, you start out by being a servant because you are like Elisha, a prophet in training. You are trained under your father, and it is on the job training. And this is where most young ministers miss it. There is a difference between a calling and a commission. Never jump into commissioning when your period of calling or making has not been completed. You may have a call, but if you have not been commissioned, wait. 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 Who is Jerry as a spiritual father? How many of you know? Have you heard of David Ogbueli? Serve. So even when you wear your suit, man of God, serve your father. Wow. Finally, the last thing. Number 5, faith. The fifth thing that will help you to activate your divine placement is faith. Elijah dropped his mantle, and Elisha picked it. He went to that same spot, struck the river, and said, "Where is the God of Elisha?" This ministry is built on the platform of faith. If you cannot exercise faith, ministry will be tough. Ministry will be tough. Faith for his provision. Faith for growth. Faith for preservation. But above all, faith to manifest what is in you. W.F. Kumuyi changed my mindset. August 1988. He had a crusade in Ojatito in Abeokuta, where I was living in at that time. And I went to Ojatito for the crusade. Massive crusade at Totoro. The entire ground was covered with people. In fact, what broke the back of that crusade was when one madman all of us in Abeokuta recognized, who stays on the Totoro Bridge. I think it was on the 3rd or the 2nd of the crusade. While Kumuyi spoke and prayed, he came back to his senses after more than 25 years of insanity. Everywhere scatter. So, the radio presenter on Ogun Broadcasting Service had an interview with Kumuyi when he came for that crusade. And he said to him, "Are you not afraid that when you say let the lame walk, that they don't walk? Or let the blind see and they don't see? Are you not afraid that it may not happen?" And Kumuyi said, "It is not my business to make the blind see. It's not my business to make the lame walk. It's my business to speak." He said, "When I have spoken, I don't bother myself about what takes place after that. It is his business." Kumuyi said, "I am like a bridge that stands between the people and God to cross through me to meet their miracles. And that's all I serve. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't bother me one moment. No anxiety." But unlike some of us, we are panicking. So, that is why, Franco, you come. So that's why, for the miracle to happen, you must if it doesn't fall by the anointing, it must fall. Why not go fall? How can man of God lay hand on you and you don't fall? And then God helps you. One small girl now falls and start doing like worm. You leave every other time. Fire! Come out! Fire! Fire! And she does, I said, fire! Come out! You leave every other thing and you are there. So you are anxious. When you go for a program, you want activity in the name of manifestation. And you leave the word. What God gave you to speak. Faith. Some of you know that I run the early satisfaction prayer altar. 6 a.m. every morning. Mondays to Friday. When God dropped that in my heart, March 2020, after I saw my mentor at Abuja, and I started that program, till today, I don't care to see how many people are there, attended. It's not my business. It's not. I don't bother myself. Last week, to celebrate my birthday, God put in my heart 12 noon every day last week. I ran what I call showers of blessings. 12 noon on my YouTube channel. I don't care to check how many people were. It's not my business. I have advertised it, spoken it, and I left it. The seed may not be for last week. It may be for 8 months, 5 years later. Somebody will stumble upon it and that's it. I remember one of those days, my phone rang. My phone rang on Sunday. And I picked the call. Say hello. There was a voice at the other side and he said hello. He said, is this Pastor Chika? And I said, yes. And he said, my name is Paul Enenche. I said, Paul Enenche. And he said, so I said, which one? He said, Paul Enenche. I said, you mean, he said in Abuja. I said, you mean Pastor Dr. Paul Enenche? The person started laughing. I said, do you mean Dunamis Abuja? He started laughing. He said, yes. This is Dr. Paul. And you are calling me? And he started laughing. And he said, I watched your program on television and you blessed me. Said your ministration was so powerful that you touched me and blessed me. So I decided to get your number. Said I've been calling your prayer line until they were able to give me your number. And I just called to say, man of God, thank you for blessing me. And he said, hello, Pastor Chika, because I'm not fit. I'm not fit talk. He said, hello, Pastor Chika. I said, yes, I'm still here, sir. He said, thank you for blessing me. And I just want to say to you, keep that which God has given to you. Then he dropped a last line. He said, this is my personal number. You can call me anytime. Send me a text message anytime. There's no PA that handles this phone. It is my personal direct line. I thought it was a joke. So 2 days after I called and he picked. So Pastor Chika, hi. I said, so you saved my number. Next time I sent him a text message, he replied, wow, just keep doing what you are doing. You cannot tell. I mean, you cannot tell. Because you don't know who. You don't know where. You don't know how. One of the days, I noticed that on my IG, I was just seeing people were just following me anyhow. So I was just waiting. How? How come? What has happened? There was a post I made about the Lion of the tribe of Judah. And when he said, I will roar over you in song. And the lion is the one that roars. Only to now, in study, notice that the roar of the lion is over 126 decibels. When you put it in rock music terms, that's almost the highest of the heights. That's what the roar of the lion can be. I didn't know that Nathaniel Bassi reposted that my post on his platform. And from all over the world, everybody started connecting to Chika. Just do what you are doing. Thank you. As long as God told you, stay there. Do what you do by faith, not with competition. Do what you do by faith, not by copying anyone. No. That some people are holding caterpillar night doesn't mean you should start bulldozer night. For your information, we don't hold all-night prayers in our church as a program. We hold it as intervention services, as a need. And our members know once we announce all-night prayer, something wants to happen. Because it's an intervention service. That is it with us. Because that's what God told us. So, I don't have to do what you do. Exactly. So, I run our services the way I know He has told me. I don't have to copy you. Because it has to be done by faith. So, Pastor Bernard, as the resident pastor, you don't have to copy the set man by any means. You know he's always in a hurry. Always, I don't know where the wrong goes. You don't have to copy him. In fact, you can decide to be the slow motion. But that's what God has asked you to do. So when the set man is not around with his hurry, do your own, your slow. And some people say, why does Pastor Bernard not look like Papa, not do things like Papa now? You are not Papa. Never Papa yourself. By faith, do what He has asked you to. I went to Cameroon to minister. I told you I'm a Baptist. So I was invited to Cameroon to minister. I went to some group of churches. But by their policy, I have to be permitted by the leader of the, like our president. I have to be permitted to preach in any of their Baptist churches. And the letter had not reached that church yet. As at the day I arrived and when I was to start ministering. So we were not having issues. I don't want my son, because my son pastors that church, Dr. Rudolph. I didn't want my son to have issues, so I told him, I won't go to the church to minister until that letter comes. And here we were, 6 p.m., nothing, 6:30 p.m. So one of his deacons just came and said, Pastor, it is only preaching your father can't preach in church, but he can pray. So since the letter has not come, let him come to church and pray. You see wisdom. So I went to church to pray. And for 40 minutes I was praying. This is where I'm going to. They brought a man who had been immobile for about 1 year. They said that man had not walked. They've been moving him from hospital to hospital. As I was praying, I felt a leading of the Spirit to a direction where I met the man. I held him on his hands and asked him to stand. He stood. Church, scatter. God had to delay that letter. They didn't need the preaching. It was a prayer. The man stood. That was what advertised the program. So the second and third day, church was full. So do what you do by what? Faith. As I close, realize that there was one who called you, and he's able to supply. What are the 5 things I mentioned? The first one is what? Followership. The second thing is what? Focus. The third one is what? Fortitude. The fourth one is what? Fatherliness. And the fifth one is what? Faith. Thank you. Pastor Bernard, over to you. I'm done.
This our clap is not fair. So let's celebrate the grace and the wisdom of Reverend Dr. Chika Osai. Okay, we're going to sit down and get questions. You know, when you were still in the street running and playing tire, somebody has started the walk that you're not doing now. You need to ask questions. -2. Some of us were never born when it started. So he has the wisdom from God with time to advise and answer our question. So the ushers are going to pass the mic around. If you just want to answer a question, I'm going to take, because I won't take long. Some of you are waiting that when you want to ask, I will ask 4 questions. So if you want to be part of those 4 questions, let's see your hand up. I'll call Nemo. Okay, Pastor Williams. Let's get the mic across to him. Let's ask. Now I'll be the 5th person.
Praise God. I want to ask, because in your course of teaching, thank you, sir. I'm grateful. I'm blessed. In your course of teaching, you talked about mentor, that you have a mentor, you also have a spiritual father. Yeah, I always have an issue with this thing. Because there are some persons, you approach them and you tell them, I want you to be my mentor, I want to follow. At the end of it, they will turn it as if they are fathering you. So they will take you as a son, and they will look at it that they are your father. But your purpose of meeting them, your reason of meeting them, you are telling them that you want them to be your mentor. That is for that. Then, secondly, secondly, how do you address your mentor? What is different between your addressing your mentor and your father? Can you also address your mentor as a father? That is it, because most of them, they take you as a son. Then, thirdly, what can a father be changed? Yes, that is the third one.
Okay, thank God you have finished. Those online, I think some people online, you can send in your question. The media team will get the question for those of us following online, that we can take your question too. So let the
you should make your intention clear from the outset when you want a mentor. The first thing is discuss that with your spiritual father. Your spiritual father should be able to give you permission to go ahead to do that, because he will also be involved in that process. So once you have discussed that and you have clarity, when you meet a mentor, be clear on who he is to you. And what's the role of a mentor? It serves as a career guide. It's a career guide. It's different from a father who is your cover. Different entirely. I have those under me who are my mentees, but I'm not their spiritual father. And I don't play the role of a spiritual father to them. In fact, so I can ask Donald and I said, have you talked to your father? Korede Komaya is Donald's father. So I will say to Donald, have you spoken to your father? And he will say no. I said, you need to talk to your father about this. And he will do that. I will also speak to Osazeme. Osazeme has a church somewhere in Sample Road. And I say, have you spoken to your father? Yes, I'm your mentor, but I'm not your spiritual father. Do I have an opinion? Yes, this is my opinion on this. But it is only your father that actually can speak about it. When it comes to career, I can guide you in this line and offer you advice. So, but if you notice that the one you want to mentor you doesn't understand that, I will advise you to stop that relationship, because it may give you more problems. So stop that relationship and find someone else who understands what it means to serve as your mentor. Can you change a spiritual father? Now, the answer is yes. Because if your father is no longer playing that role of cover that he is supposed to be, change. Especially if you have talked about it with God and God grants you the permission. Because in the first place, you were not the one who chose him. God led you to him. So if God is still leading you out, you should know. But don't just walk away. You should be able to discuss that with your spiritual father. And tell him why you are actually making a shift. It should be known. Because there must be a proper disengagement. It is very important. Very important. I always say, don't close a door behind you with a bang, because you may need that door tomorrow. So do a proper disengagement. It's like when a boy and a girl who have been in a relationship now feel that they don't want to continue. There's no need to quarrel. Yes. Remove the engagement thing or whatever you call it and still remain friends. Because you can't tell where you will need each other tomorrow. So properly disengage. It's the same thing I tell my church members. If you feel that I am no longer of use to you, which is possible, and you want to leave this place, please leave cleanly. Come and tell me that you are leaving. And let me know where you are going to. And it's important for me because I care for your soul. Yes. And I will be in touch with that pastor where you are going to make sure that you are properly taken care of. Not this one that people will leave church with quarrel or break. No. Properly tell me. And I have members who have come to me and say, look, Pastor, we feel that our time here is over and we are moving. And they leave. I pray with them. I release them. And they are gone. So the same thing should happen with your spiritual father, because it's a spiritual relationship. Thank you.
Okay, next question. He has asked 3. Out of 4 questions, he asked 3. So who's taking the next question? Raise your hand. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, start with the lady. Lady first. After the gentleman have cleared the way.
Praise God.
Hallelujah.
Yes, sir. I have 2 questions. Okay, the first one is, you said that you were telling Pastor Ben that he does not have to act like a pastor in charge, that he has his own way of doing things. But there's this saying that the son should act like the father. So, like, you have to have that bearing. You know, the ministerial calling should reflect on you. So how do we marry that if the other person is different from the other person? Then the second one, should I ask it or I should?
Go ahead.
All right, sir. I have a case in my church presently. The GO of the church, as the owner, he traveled out, and the person he left in charge, the pastor he employed for the church, at some point they had issues. They always have issues because he employs pastors, and money issues, then they leave. So this time around, this one left again, and the GO said he's not going to employ any other pastor. And when he was leaving, it caused a very big issue. The church kind of splitted. And he said he's not employing any other pastor, that we should fend for ourselves. And he told me, take care of the church till I come back. After all, you were doing fellowship, pastoring, fellowship things then. Just take care of the church till I come. I said, I cannot do it because I have my own, a lot of responsibilities. It was like, take care of it. I don't know how you are going to do it, but I'm not sending a pastor. So I decided, okay, let me do it till you come. But while trying to do it, many of them said, why will Sister Diamond come and be doing a head here? She's just a sister in the church, and they left. In fact, a lot of them left. And there are only few persons around that we hold services and all that. What I'm doing actually is to keep the church open till the owner comes. But the challenge now is, he told me, because I told him, I don't know how long I will continue. And I need help. And he says, don't worry. Just manage. I will come before the end of the year. And then I told him, sir, when you come, these people that left and they really, I don't know, will I use the word, don't like me, they will come back. But when you come back, I don't think I will remain, because I will not be able to serve God when in the midst of people that don't like me. But I'm wondering, because I told someone, the person said, why would you say such a thing? If you're already in the ministry, you should have a large heart, you know, and all that. But I'm wondering, did I say something wrong, or should I have done it differently? Thank you, sir.
Oh, I feel for you. I feel for you. First, that challenge you have is because there is no transfer of spiritual authority to you. So you lack it. You lack it. There was no handover to you. So whatever you are doing now is because you lack spiritual authority. If when he was going initially, let's say the first time, he called you out from the congregation and told the people and declared to them, from today, Sister Lovett is holding forth for me, that would have been a different thing entirely. So whatever you are doing now is a private arrangement that is outside the knowledge of the people. The people will not believe you. So it's not a problem of the people. It's the problem of a lack of authority. Again, you see, let me use your word literally. When you employ pastors, you are bringing them in as civil servants, and they will work like civil servants. Because that calling is not theirs, that vision is not theirs. It's like Apostle Frank now, living for some time, and he decides to employ someone to come to this place from nowhere. They don't understand the culture. They don't understand the vision. And so there will be crisis. Let's even leave the money thing aside. There will be crisis. There will be crisis of vision. There will be crisis of values. So that's what happens. Now, if he knew he was leaving, and there's no problem with leaving, because he has certain things to do over there should have been proper transition and planning that will hold forth for the period he will be away, and the church will not feel it. Sam Adeyemi has left Daystar since almost 2020. It's 4 years now. The church is still running. In fact, permit me to say, it's like they don't even need him. That's it. They don't feel it. Someone asked me, he said, Chika, you're always here, you're always there, you're always here, you're always there. How do you run your church? I said, I've grown them to a point where they don't need me. So, should you leave the church? I can't answer that question. That's an issue you should discuss with your God. Because if your assignment is over there, then you can move. But if your assignment is not over, then stay, so that you will not have an issue with your God. So ask God, is my assignment over? If he says no, stay back. Because you didn't enter that church because of people. You went to that church because of what God told you. I hope I'm correct. So allow what God told you to keep you in that church. So let's go back to number one question. Bernard, when we say Bernard should not act like Papa, what we mean is that he can't act like Papa because Papa too they find trouble. Church members have been a lie. Make una de fear. So, Waiting. May we not go there. So, what we mean is the physical characteristics doesn't have to match up. But the spiritual characteristics will definitely match up. That's what we're talking about. So, spiritually, the connection is there. But physically, the way they approach matters physically, they differ. The culture stays. That is what it is. He knows what the culture is. He approaches the culture with who he is and doesn't change the culture. I was in a battle day before yesterday on Facebook because of the church we planted in Ogbomoso and left. I didn't know that something had happened. It was a purely English-speaking Baptist church. The vision that God gave. But the pastor who took over after I left, it was some few days ago I came to hear that he introduced Yoruba into the church. And so now, they speak and interpret in Yoruba. And I said, that was not the church we planted. That's not the church we left. That was not the vision God gave. That was not what God spoke. And so, I asked, why did they do that? They said because he said if they go for evangelism, people say, we like your church, but you people speak only English, so they don't have members as much. So I asked, since they started speaking Yoruba, how many members do they have now? So, the vision, the culture, there must be that alignment. But the personality may differ. That's what I mean. Thank you. Okay, one last question. Okay.
Praise the Lord. My question is this. So you taught us about follower, mentorship, and father. So I want to know, and you answered that mentorship and father role through the question of this pastor. And what is still driving away from my eye now is what is the visible sign to know your follower?
What is the visible sign to know who is your follower? Is the one who stays with you during difficult seasons. That's how you know your follower. And I can say that because I have been there. In my difficult season, I came to know who my followers were and are. That was a defining moment of my life. I'm not fazed by a crowd. It doesn't move me at all. Maybe because of who I am. If you invite me to a church and there are just 5 persons, I'm still myself. I'm still myself. Crowd doesn't faze me by any means. So, how I know my follower is that my follower adds value to me. My follower protects me. My follower invests into me. And my follower stays with me during difficult seasons. That's how I know my followers. In fact, my followers are ready to fight because of me. And I've had to speak certain times to some of my followers to say, look, you don't need to reply this. If you had told me, I would have just asked you to ignore it and just move on with your life. Thank you.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. How many of you were blessed this morning? Those of you asking questions inside your heart, you're asking it inside your heart there. You have opportunity to ask it out. Again and again, one of the things I picked while I was answering the question of diamond, right? All right. One of the things I picked, and I'll say to pastors specifically, raise your people from within. Don't employ pastors. Don't. Ministry is not civil service board. It's not. If I'm a civil servant in Oyo State and I come and I marry a Benin man, they can employ me here because I'm bearing the Benin man's name for those who are women. Or if I'm a man and I come and I marry a Benin woman here, I can use her influence to work in civil service board. And anything I will do, I'll just do. That's how it is when you employ someone to come pastor your work. But when you begin to raise people from within, you can't have 10, 15, 20, 30 people with you, and your eyes will not see the ones who are wired for ministry, as it were, pastoring, as it were. All right? I have seen a church where when the man departed and 2 of his pastors left, it was 3 of the leaders, strong leaders, who rose and ran the church for about 4 months before the spiritual father came and put oil on them. And they started running. So the culture, they are used to the culture, they are used to the vision, they know the dream, and they'll flow in that dimension. So let's just begin to invest into our people. Keep investing, keep investing, keep investing. You don't know when you need them tomorrow. We want to appreciate our Father. Let's rise and just, no, sir, please sit. Thank you. Let's all stand up and appreciate him with a big, 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 big hand. I truly, like I said, maybe in the evening I'll have a little bit of time, but I truly do not know why Doctor loves me and loves TGH the way he does. When I go to his office, I am careful, extremely careful, because if you are not careful around such people, you'll be talking to them as if they are your mates. I get careful with my talk. And the way he talks will lure you to misbehave. You think it's your mate, go pushing head. Eh? And I'm a children minister where he is. I'm not even I've not gotten to a young minister yet. You know. But the simplicity, the access. I don't take it for granted, sir. I don't take it for granted. There's no time I'll call him, he won't pick his call. No time of the day. No time of the day. He has granted me that permission, but I still get careful. You know, I just want to appreciate you for the times you have listened to me when I'm making sense and when I'm talking gibberish. Thank you. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for loving us. We truly appreciate you. Tonight by 4 p.m. we'll begin. God's servant will be here again. Tonight by 4 p.m. Listen, don't see, when you see a conference like this, study the spiritual atmosphere and know there's a conference where you need to bring funnel to drink. Yes, don't miss out. Don't miss out. 4 p.m. he will be here to complete his session for IFOCC 2024. Tony Combe will be in the house tonight. Tony Combe will be in the house tonight to lead us in levels of worship. And it's going to be a swell time. Do us a favor. Drag somebody with you when coming. Pay someone's transport and say, come. I have realized that when you want to help a man, don't talk too much. Carry him to the place where his help is. Let him sit down. He will thank you for life. For life. For life. I have seen men who were taken to a meeting. Someone said, follow me. Practically drag them. Today, that person they dragged is bigger than the person who dragged them. But they will never forget. So do us that favor. Invite a friend and don't come late. God bless you. As we go home today. Pastor Gift, just release a word of ours. Just pray for us as we go. You're looking at me. Come and pray. You're a man of God. A man of God does not want to pray. You see what you want to pray? See fight. He didn't take microphone. No. Pastor Ben, please pray. All my prayer are finished. Pastor Ben said we can go home. God bless you. Shake someone's hand, hug somebody, give somebody a high five, and we can go home. That's how we be for you. You see, this is our church. That's how we be. Nothing.